The Fiat 500 is a name we all know as an iconic small Italian hatchback. This 500X is the 500's bigger brother, and we see it here in the new for 2020 sport trim level. This one in particular loaded up with every option available. So let's dive in and check out this flashy crossover. Okay, so I'd like to start off with going over some of the features on the window sticker and the way that kind of Fiat sets the window stickers up. So on the side we have all of the basic information such as your colors, your engine options, transmission, and as well as all your standard equipment down here. And it leads up to right about here. And this is where we have all of our optional equipment. And this car truly really is fully loaded with every option you could possibly think of for the 500X. First of all, we have the sport leather trimmed bucket seats for an extra $1,000. That gives you the vinyl door trim bucket seats, the vinyl door trim panel, as well as the seat back pockets. Really pretty nice seats here, nice attention to detail, and that's really what the Italian cars are all about, is the attention to detail. We have the customer preferred package, which comes in at $1,695. Comes with the Beats premium audio system, a little bit bigger wheels, the full panoramic sunroof. Then we also get the cold weather group, which adds the heated front seats as well as the windshield wiper deicer. We have the comfort group, which adds the power driver's seat with the four-way lumbar, dual zone climate control, overhead ambient lighting, all kinds of good stuff, auto dimming rear view mirror. We also have the advanced driver's assistance group, which is one of the bigger option groups that we have. That comes with the adaptive speed control, lane departure warning, all kinds of pretty useful safety technology, auto high beams, all kinds of things like that. And we also have just the basic driver's assistance group, which comes with some LED projector headlamps, parking sensors both front and rear. And we also have the black painted accent roof, an extra $445, which really makes this car pop. And we also have the navigation with the 7-inch display. A destination charge is a little bit high on this car. It stands at $1,495. We have a total sticker price, all options included, at $35,600. I can guarantee you won't see much more of an expensive 500X in this. This truly does have all the options. Down below we have our warranty coverage, so it's a pretty good basic warranty. You got 4-year, 50,000 miles. Usually see that on the luxury makes warranty there. We also have our fuel economy rating and also our parts content, which I know a lot of you like to see, so zoom in on that. Pretty surprised to see that some of the parts come from Poland, 20%, and Italy at 62%. That's pretty funny because that actually makes up the nationalities that I am. Okay, so walking around to the side, we are working with the Rovente red exterior paint color with the contrast black roof. And it is one of 5 different color options available on the sport trim of the 500X. And our wheelbase measures in at 101.2 inches. And making our way out to the rear of the car, all 500Xs for 2020 come standard with all-wheel drive. Okay, so the details of the exterior on the 2020 Fiat 500X. Immediately you notice these 3 quadrants of headlights, or lights I should say rather, on the front of the car. Now the upper one is of course your main LED bulb for both your high and low beams. It also has LED daytime running lights. If we take a look down below, we have some more LED daytime running lights as well as your turn signal. And towards the bottom, of course, we have our LED fog lights. And that's surrounded in this nice metallic silver trim. We also have 3 different portions for your air intakes for the grille. The top one has the Fiat mustache with the emblem, the lower, and then the bottom one. And the bottom one also has your sensors for your adaptive cruise control and distance warning for the front. We also do have parking sensors that wrap the front bumper. So up here we have a nice short hood with the central creases. If we take a look down below, we have these optional 19-inch wheels and the sport trim. The tires measure 225/45 up front, and it's these really interesting Michelin cross climate tires. Take a look at the tread in there. I've never seen tires with that sort of tread before. But as far as the wheels go, they are pretty nice looking. Of course, 19-inch wheels, like I said. Machine faced and gray painted inserts. We have ventilated disc brakes up front and this nice little lug nut cover. We have the sport badging on the side, which is pretty prominent. And you could of course see the black contrast roof, which really makes quite a difference in the look of this car. And the mirrors are painted this nice metallic gray. You can see we have the blind spot warning and LED turn signal on the mirror. We also have these painted gray door handles, which are pretty neat. And the front two have the smart key entry, so you just press the button. It'll beep and lock the doors, and you just put your hand behind the handle to unlock. Very neat looking for that contrast roof. Pretty cool. We have our rear tire and wheel setup, and the brakes are solid discs back here. And as you notice on most of the 500X crossovers, all of this trim around the wheels and down the side is like a flat black. But on the Sport, it is all body colored to give it that sporty appearance. And taking a look at the shape, especially from the back, you can really notice that they tried to stick true to the original Fiat 500 when designing this car, and it really does show. We have LED tail lamps back here with our turn signals and brake lights. We also have a little body colored insert in the center of the taillights, which looks pretty cool. We have a spoiler, shark fin antenna, and the panoramic sunroof up there. Our third wiper and deeply tinted rear glass for both the sides and the rear. We have this nice, again, the metallic gray paint on the trim right here. The 500X logo is blacked out, and then we also have the Fiat logo there. This little button right here is to lock the doors, and we also have our backup camera and trunk release right next to it. Again, parking sensors run the span of the rear bumper, and you have this nice sport trim on the back with these nice chrome finished exhaust outlets and our all-wheel drive badging. So very attractive and quirky little car from the outside. Okay, so as far as the interior goes, on the sport trim at least, you can only get one interior color, and of course that is the black. As far as material goes, we have pretty good material. So you have a soft touch plastic up here, and also down here is a hard touch plastic. Then you have these nice vinyl door inserts, and they're very, very soft where your arm's going to rest. You have these pretty neat looking door handles. These also serve as the lock unlock right there, so you could just switch it around. As far as the rest of the buttons go, we have lock unlock, the window lockout for the children, and also your window controls. And we also have this pretty neat looking mirror adjustment, so you just kind of pick a side and you can adjust the mirrors with the pad. Pretty neat looking little mirror adjustment there. And this car, of course, since it's fully loaded, does come with the optional Beats audio system. You also have a nice little bubbled out storage tray here with a little cup holder on the inside too. So on the left of the dash we have some more of that trim that carries from the outside. As you can see, the mirror is that metallic gray, and also we have the trim on the inside. It's metallic gray. We have an air vent, your lighting controls, fog lamps, interior lighting, as well as your gauge dimmer. We also have this little lever right here for the telescoping steering wheel. Take a look down below. We have these nice aluminum pedals in the Sport. Then your hood release is up here. So, optional fully powered leather trimmed seats. We have the pretty neat 500 logo, and then also the seats are drilled so they don't get so hot in the summertime. But again, they are fully powered, so you can see, and then you also have the four-way lumbar. One thing I'd like to point out here is on the Sport, you get these really nice suede grips on the steering wheel, and they're extremely comfortable and very grippy. Also, that same trim is on the head of the instrument cluster. Very nice attention to detail there. Okay, so here's the key fob you get when you purchase a 500X. It's a pretty neat little key fob here. You got the Fiat logo on the bottom, or on the back rather, and then on the bottom you have this little switch where you could move it over and a physical key will pop out of the bottom of the key fob. If you flip it over, you got the unlock, lock, remote start, and the panic alarm. You're saying, gee, this key fob looks a little familiar to the other Fiat Chrysler automobiles. It definitely does, because Jeep uses this key fob, and also does Dodge on a few of their different models. But it looks very nice in this application, and in another way it feels a little bit more premium than the other FCA key fobs, because it's a little bit weighted, so you can feel there's a little bit of quality into that key. Of course, this car has push button ignition. Just put your foot on the brake and locate the engine start stop button. Alright, so the interior features of the 2020 Fiat 500X Sport. Now, on some cars, Sport just kind of means it's the base model or something like that. But with Fiat, it actually means something. So again, like as I pointed out to you on the steering wheel, it's got these really neat trim on the steering wheel and the red stitching on the inside. You have these really nice seats with the piping on them. They really did a pretty good job differentiating this as actually being a sport model than the other manufacturers do. But as far as the steering wheel goes, you of course have that suede, and then you also have leather on the rest of the wheel. So on the bottom and the top, you have this nice gloss black down below. Quite a bit of that gloss black going around the airbag cover and around the buttons as well. Over here you have the controls for the digital portion in the middle of the gauges. You also have Bluetooth and voice command controls there too. Walking over to the right, we have our cruise control, as well as distance indications and our all of our different cruise control and adaptive cruise control settings. Now again, and one other thing, this being the Sport, is that they have these little paddle shifters. Now they're not full paddle shifters. I'll see if I could show you. They don't go down all the way, because you actually have these buttons down here, and on this side it controls the audio volume, and on the other side it controls the different stations and your source. So pretty neat use of placement of buttons there. They actually put some on the behind the steering wheel, so it's not so cluttered on the face of the steering wheel. Behind the wheel you have the on-off button at the end of the stalk for your lane keeping assist. If that's annoying you, you just shut it off. We also have our turn signals and our high beams. We also have our front and rear wipers over there, and a little bit of a better look at where our push button ignition is. On the upper dash, it's pretty neat. We have a nice grain, decent texture to it. It's not totally hard plastic. We also have these pretty neat looking gauges here. Again, pretty sporty. We have our analog speedometer and rev counter. We also have our fuel gauge and temperature gauge. And then in the center we have a small digital gauge there too. So we can go between, I think there's 10 or 11 different menus here. This one shows your digital speedometer. This one has different trip ratings. Moving down, we have our different drive mode settings, different vehicle information, so tire pressures, oil temperature and battery voltage, our driver's assistance functions, what's on and what's off, our start stop, our audio screen, navigation screen, different messages such as like service reminders and things like that. We can also go into our settings. And then back to our digital speedometer. So a couple neat things in there that you can get different information about. And we also have our nice, pretty large display here with our optional navigation. So pretty neat, easy to get used to system here. It's pretty much straight out of some of the Jeep and Dodge products. So it's, you know, if it's coming from Fiat Chrysler, it's a really good, easy to use system. So here we kind of have a main screen, which is just a jumblation of all of our different things that you get into. At the bottom are kind of, I guess you could say, like your presets to the different menus of the screen. So we can go into our radio screen. We could see that Sirius XM is already activated. We have our different sources at the side, presets up top, and then different changes between your stations and whatnot on the bottom. We go over to our media screen. It won't show a whole lot because I don't have my phone connected. That's what it would look like. And same thing with the phone screen. Don't have my phone connected. But here's the main part here with our navigation. So pretty neat map here. You know, a little bit old school, but it does the job just fine. You can zoom in and out and then also set your destination right over here. Find gas stations and whatnot. Does the job very nice. And we also have our vehicle settings here, which I'll go quickly through. And we also have different trip controllers and different ways to view what's going on with your trip here. If we go back to our main screen, again, it'll pull up your audio settings and whatnot. By the way, it is a 9-speaker Beats audio system, which is pretty cool. So pretty neat little screen there. Not a whole lot you can get yourself involved in, but a very nice, simple screen that has all the basics that you need. You have a quick mute button over here, your volume knob and your tune knob, and also a brightness button here, which also turns the screen on and off. Right down below the screen we have 3 circular buttons, which look pretty neat if you ask me. We've got the traction control off button, the auto start stop off button, as well as your 4-way hazards. Down below that we have a couple of air vents, and then our very, very simple to use climate control. And I'm a huge fan of simple climate controls because there's really no reason to make a climate control difficult to operate. However, Fiat has done it completely right. You have 3 huge knobs. These 2 on the outside control the temperatures, and the one in the center controls the fan speed. Also in the center button you have actual buttons that can get you different zones where you want the air to blow. That's very nice because some of the systems in different cars have buttons where you have to press until you find it, and then sometimes you skip over it and you got to go through the whole thing again. It's just very simple in this car, and that's a good thing. You have little LCD displays in the center that show you your temperatures. We have our AC controls, and then automatic and sync buttons there as well. 2-stage heated seats for both the front passengers, 2 USB inlets, and you can also turn your parking sensors on and off with that button there. Nice little storage cubby down here where you can put your key, and there's also a 12-volt power outlet. And we have the gear selector for the 9-speed automatic transmission. So we have park and then an unlock at the back, which you need to press in to select the gear. Going into reverse, we have a nice little backup camera here with the guidance lines that adjust when you move the steering wheel. And we have the little center there, which if you have a hitch, that's easy to hook up to a little trailer or something like that. We of course have the typical neutral and drive, and we can also switch it over into the manual mode, where we can switch over here or up here with the paddle shifters. Another pretty little cool quirk of this car is that it's got this little button right here with the shift boot. It looks pretty nice attention to detail, but also if you unbutton it, you can gain access to the shifter linkage in case service needs that for some reason. So it's 2 things, a pretty attractive looking thing, and it's also functional for service. Down here we have a couple of cup holders with this pretty neat hexagonal trim. We also have this rotary dial here with 3 different driving modes. So we can choose between the sport mode. You got a pretty neat little picture up here. We also have the automatic mode, which kind of is adapts to the way you're driving. And we also have a traction plus mode, which is kind of like an all-weather mode if it's snowing or you're going off-road for whatever reason. We have an electronic parking brake. If the yellow light is on, that means it's active. To deactivate it, just put your foot on the brake and press down. And to activate it, pretty much the same procedure, foot on the brake, but pick up this time. We have a nice soft leatherette armrest up here, and we lift that up. Have a pretty decent amount of storage in there, goes in pretty deep. Close that on down. We have the automatic dimming day and night mode mirror, and you can also turn it off with the power button there if you like. Up here we have a couple of controllers for the lights, interior lighting, as well as your sunroof. And it is a double sunroof. You can see that the shades are closed now, and it does let in just a little bit of light. But what's also good with this style of shade is that you can have the sunroof open, get the wind in your hair and everything, but you can shut the shade and not have the sun beating down on you. So the front portion is definitely oversized. It's pretty large, and you also can't forget about the rear portion too, so it is a panoramic roof. You have 2 buttons up here, which one will vent it up and then one will slide the roof back as well. You have pretty large visors. Take a look at the size of that. So that'll block any sun that's coming in your way. You also have extensions that go off to this side. And you can also take it and put it off to the side, although it doesn't extend back and forth like that. You also have a little mirror with a light in there too. And a grab handle. If we take a look at the passenger side, they have this pretty neat trim with this matching trim on the outside, so the metallic gray color and the blacked out 500 logo. And this also doubles as a little storage tray, so you can pop that right open. You see the button right underneath. So that's the first glove box, and then you also have a second which you could open up. Pretty neat little owner's manual here. Take a look at that. Very cool design there, and it looks like to be a pretty good amount of space in there. As far as the front passenger seat, it is a manually adjusting seat. But for the next portion of the video, we're going to check out the rear seats. But before we do that, I'm going to adjust the driver's seat to a suitable position where I'm comfortable to drive, and I'm 5'10", and you could see some actual legroom that you'll see in the real world here. Okay, so the rear doors, as far as the materials go, you have the nice soft vinyl where your arm is going to rest, but you do have hard touch plastic up here and down here. You have a couple of speakers back here, it looks like, for the Beats audio system. Door handle, the window switch, and a little bit of a storage pocket, and a water bottle holder. So immediately getting back in the rear seats, you definitely have a very upright seating position, so you can really tell that you are in an SUV. So not a whole lot of legroom. I wouldn't necessarily call it a big vehicle, but I wouldn't call it a tiny one. My knees just grazed the back of the seat, and again, I am 5'10", so just keep that in mind if you're a little bit taller. You do have a USB charger back here though, which is very nice, and a very minimal drivetrain hump, so you can definitely fit 3 people back here. It's definitely wide enough for that. Pretty nice attention to detail back here on the seats, pretty much the same materials as up front. You have this nice little circular center seat, although you don't have a fold down armrest. You do have your own little sunroof, which is pretty neat. I'd take that as a pretty fair trade-off. But next, let's go ahead and see how much room we have under the hatch. Okay, so opening the hatch is as simple as reaching right under the 500X logo and pressing up. It isn't a full powered lift gate, but it is definitely very easy to open. And a pretty wide opening too, so you can definitely get bigger items in here. Now this being a smaller SUV, you don't have that much space, but it's a little bit more space you'd have in a car this size with a normal trunk. But you can definitely fold down the rear seats. You see they fold a 60 and a 40 split. You have cargo lighting back here, as well as your carpeted floor mats, which is pretty neat stitching. You're looking at the cargo floor, maybe you'd say it's a little bit high up, but I feel like it should go down a little bit more. If you lift this up, you actually have some hidden storage. So it gives you an extra, I don't know, I'd say 4 inches of depth in the trunk if you lift this up. And then you can also see that this says 500 tools. If you lift this up, you have all of your tools. So a little screwdriver, the filler neck for the gas tank, and your air compressor for the tires. And it also has the subwoofer for the Beats audio system. So pretty neat little cargo solution there to get a little bit more cargo space out of an otherwise smaller car. And to shut the trunk, you got a nice little handle here. Just pull it right on down, it's not heavy at all. So the 500X does have a 12.7 gallon fuel tank, which is pretty good for a car of this size. And according to the EPA on the window sticker, you should be seeing right around 24 miles per gallon in the city and 30 on the highway. You can see it has this little seal right there for the capless filler so no water gets inside. And if you need to use a gas can, you need to put that little filler in that I showed you in the trunk before you stick the gas can in. So to close out this video, I hope you have enjoyed the 2020 Fiat 500X in the loaded out sport trim level. I hope you stay with us here at NNT Auto Reviews for future in-depth walk around videos.